So I wanted to talk a little bit about the new school board member workshop that was sponsored by the Utah School Board Association, and we'll go over excuse me, this agenda here. And I do believe that let me see here on the agenda that this was the one that was kind of an interesting classroom or class that talks about the new board and the board superintendent relationship. Just as a side note, I wanted to share an experience that I had, my introduction to the School Board Association. Um, it was at as you can see here, it was at the Provo Marriott Hotel, and I live in Salt Lake City, so I drove up to Provo, and I was wearing a Wayavetta shirt like I am in this picture here. I didn't have the school ID on at the time. I don't think that had been issued yet, and excuse me, when I walked in, um, I had a bag over my shoulder and I was on the phone. I put the bag down to take the phone call, and when I was sitting down out in the lobby area right outside where this I believe there was probably about 100 of us there, and there was a ballroom where they had tables set up and stuff where we were going to have lunch, and we had a continental breakfast that morning. And so as I stood up to get my bag, this guy comes up to me, and I believe he called me muchacho, and he said that I need to get in gear and take care of this coffee pot. He said the coffee pot was out. He had already talked to somebody about it, and they didn't do anything, and that instead of me being on the phone, I should be taking care of the coffee pot. And so uh, I have this statement here about what a Wayabera shirt is. I'm assuming because I was wearing this Wayabera shirt, he thought I worked at the hotel. So I told him I apologized that the coffee pot was empty, and I told him I would take care of it. And I went and found the banquet staff, and they spoke Spanish, and I spoke to them in Spanish and said, "Hey, this coffee pot's empty, and people are upset about it. Can I help you fill it?" And she said, "No, no, no, we'll take care of it right away." So they took care of it right then and there. The two women dropped what they were doing and went and filled up that coffee pot. Then I went and told the man that yelled at me. I said, "Sir," I said, "the coffee pot has been taken care of." And he was talking to somebody, and he just looked at me and ignored me and looked at me like, who do I think I am, trying to interrupt his conversation? So I went in and sat down. I think I met the superintendent right after that, and then sat down. And then at the beginning of our conference, they asked us all to stand up and introduce ourselves. And when I stood up, I could see this guy through the corner of my eye. His jaw had dropped, and during the first break, he came up to me and apologized for talking to me that way and assuming that I worked at the hotel. And I told him that I was not offended by it, that was fine. I said, "I'm here to serve." So I told him, think nothing of it. But throughout the day, he expressed again, his apologies and that. And I don't know if it was the shirt, or maybe as I looked around, I was the only Hispanic that I could see, or the only Hispanic in the room that was a new school board member. But that was my introduction to the school board association, um, being mistaken for somebody who worked at the hotel, which I was not offended by that. And as I as demonstrated, I took care of it and got his coffee pot taken care of. So back to the meeting. One of the booklets that they gave us, it says your local school board, and as you see here,